look, it's us. Ooh, that's gonna look good. We're gonna turn the camera around. We've been having our green tea, maca green tea kombucha, and a few of these. And we're sore and tired after our Shintosai gardening, so we're sleeping on the floor in the lounge. But we're going to turn the camera around now because, and we'll show you what we're doing and hopefully be able to word it, because we've watched back on Shintosai, and one of our things is that we want to become impeccable with our word, but it's quite challenging because it's obvious when you hear us talk and we switch between the altars when the voice changes, but there's a few of us going on, and when we watch them back, we're kind of talking in one voice unless things get really stuck and stunted, and then different voices of us come out, but it's actually always going on. And we notice how we're not, how we make mistakes and we don't finish things, and our wording and our terminology is not completely accurate, but we do have high standards, and we just have to be patient, and this is why we're doing the process we're doing to show our transformation in real time with our challenges, and to show how one with willpower, want, self-discipline, determination, etc., can make something that's really challenging fun. The many dark nights of the soul, the many dark nights of the egos. So we're going to turn the camera around, because if you've been watching any of our last videos between all our channels, because our channels don't follow the pattern of YouTube, we haven't got one niche, and we're not taking one niche to a channel, which is challenging because you've got different ones of us that do follow the rules of society and want to do that, but it's not possible for us to do that, otherwise we would. We're finding the easiest, smoothest, maximum output, most ease way for us, and so our channels basically have, depending which channel you're on, so in instance we're on Shintos now, Shinto self-empowerment, then the energies are about empowering oneself through Shintoism, by being, by nurturing, by accepting, in alignment with nature and the seasons. We're still getting clear on the words because we've got processing language disorder, rare dyslexia, so words aren't our strong point. Notice how we said aren't our strong point over weakness, because if we're strengthening it, and so it's on the wording and being impeccable with the word for manifestation, it's more aligned to say not strong, because the adjectives or the adjunctives, or the connecting bits of the words get taken out, and therefore it focuses on the strength. So eventually they will be a strong point of ours, and there'll be a stronger point of ours more than the average person who doesn't have a processing language disorder, because we've put so much bloody effort and many decades into this journey. I mean, that was 19 we got diagnosed with that. So we talked in Shintosai on our gardening thing last night about Russell being on the equator, and that's at 0 degrees, and it's the balance point between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. I think it's 0 degrees latitude, not longitude. We're still getting confused with all of that. And so we started this yesterday, but we only managed to do the reading of that and that, introduction and how to use this book. We did read this out loud on our Shintosai channel live 2 years ago. We just took a screenshot this morning. So we've been finishing reading this morning and making our notes. It's taken us a while to actually start this, because we've had to be all in agreement to doing it, because it will create triggers and stress, and so we have to be able to know that we were able to manage it. So we've just started the out of the darkness into the light, which is oopsie daisy, which is the week 1 of this journey, and it's Monday. So we haven't done Tuesday yet, but Tuesday will just be the colour reflection. So on the videos, we haven't posted them all up yet, but we have done this one. This is what we spent a lot of time doing. So we've done all the spring equinox, the summer solstice, the autumn equinox, and the winter solstice. It's got all the cards. The main theme for the 3 months is at the top. Then you've got the monthly theme, and then you've got each week. Now, when we actually did this, we got confused with the months, like our conscious mind does, and we did 4 lots of 4 weeks, when actually there's only 3 months in a season, and so it should have been 3 lots of 4, but we did 4 lots of 4. So the 4th week turned out to be a summary and a conclusion of the whole season. Now, there's a lot of wands energy here. We've got the King of Wands for, it's not really focusing, is it? King of Wands for the first week, which starts today. We've got the 9 of Wands, then we've got the 10 of Wands, and then we've got the 6 of Wands. The 6 of Wands is the upside down 9. So the 6 and the 9 are in the Tesla code. We're going to go on a bit of a few sidetracks here. This is the Tesla code thing that we did on Sunday, the 11th of September 2022, that we've got a double Tesla code there, because the Tesla code only actually has one triangle. So you've got the red 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is the red triangle, and the red W. And it's this W pattern that when you've got the natal chart aspects that has been drawing us in for years, because we're not connected to all of us alternate personalities. The alternate personalities aren't just in the mind, they're in the mind and the body, and we're learning how to connect it all. And this goes right back to before we had the seizures, when we were staying in a friend's caravan and someone showed us Pinterest, and we had finally what we couldn't get out in words, because words aren't our strong point. We had Pinterest, and suddenly there were all these pictures that were showing us what we were feeling, because we were feeling the chakra energetics in our body, but we couldn't actually get out in words what was going on. And we could feel down to such a micro fractal level, on an subatomic level, the quantum. And we want to get up back to out of the quantum level up to the physical level, to sort out the connective tissue, the fascia on our body. Now, if you look at this looks like a graph of X, Y, and Z, but it's a complicated graph, because it's got contours and curves, just like the tectonic plates on Earth. And so we had all these, it brings in our yoga of the different planes, it brings in all your toroidal flow, and finally we had all these images that were showing what was going on for us in our body. But wording, we couldn't word it. And this is going back now 7 years. And so Pinterest has our thing that connects all the energy, the connective tissue, the quantum levels, the fractal levels. And this morning, so this is also now bringing in Patch Wisdom Wheel, because we've got a lot of different ages going on. So Russell with the equator is on the 0 degrees. So we've got the balancing energies of that. We've been close to the equator, but we've never been close to the equator on the, so this is talking about ley lines and earth grids and energetics. Now, just because it's in our past that we've been on the equator doesn't mean that in the quantum realms it's all present tense. So we've connected our past earth grid footprint of being on the equator with Russell from Rustling Around, is on the equator currently in the present. He said at the end of Sagittarius reading yesterday about Saturn going into Pisces, which we already knew. And we've just made this literal connection. We've got a video which we're going to put up at some point that shows us shuffling the Chakra Wisdom Tarot, because we used them to pull out, to give us cards to set our intention for this week. Because this is using actually the Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards for fables and stories, to get your 3 stages, your darkness, your dawn, and your light. The darkness being the past or the subconscious, the hidden, the dawn being what's coming into the present conscious awareness, and the light living one's full potential. And she does her own intuitive take on the chakras, and this is where everyone's experience is individual to them, and there is no wrong or right. There's wrong or right gets into duality reality. So anyway, we did the cards, and the spectrum of energy on the cards happened to be the Eight of Wands and the Eight of Cups. And it's amazing because we haven't got it in here. In our diary, we've put all of this into our digital diary, which is what's on our Zanoni Snowflake channel, and our physical diary. And we've also been writing down like specifically what the Page of Cups is, and from the Patch Wisdom Wheel, but also the Tarot of Dreams book, because in the Tarot of Dreams guidebook, it actually had which is what we've used for a lot of this previous on some of our recordings. So if you go up to here, it's not very good to zoom, that's our Patch Wisdom Wheel. That's this Patch Wisdom Wheel here, which we've been doing like the axes for. And this is the center, the seasons. So the Page of Cups is actually the season of autumn with the Ace of Cups. And this would go one direction because it goes autumn, winter, winter. So cups, swords, discs, wands, or pentacles, wands. And it goes anti-clockwise, but on the outside it goes the other way round. And so that is your toroidal flow of the energies going one way in and one way out. So it's a bit of sidetracking to get there, and I don't even know if we're going to manage it all. So we were doing this. We always say how we take the top and the bottom of the pack of cards and we do a spectrum. So a spectrum being like a seesaw. So on one end, you've got the Eight of Cups, and on the other end, you've got, this is us now, not completely finishing off, you've got the Eight of Wands. But that's in the simplistic, logical 3D world, but nothing's like that in the 3D world. The 3D world is a physical manifestation of the unseen energetic world, which is a circular, which seems like a circular in the 3D, but it's not. It's actually a spiral. You see, it's the green spiraling out. And then we were attempting to do the Fibonacci spiral, but we got it wrong because we did a rectangle, but then it didn't work. And this is all of us and all our different things coming together, attempting to get stuff out of our head without looking at other things or copying it. So this string here, 8 one end, 8 the other end, even if the numbers were different, it would still be here. So you put this string together to the end of this string, and that makes your circle. And these could be completely different numbers, completely different colors, but they would be it'd be the alchemization of those energetics. It just so happens that it's the same on 8 and it's the same on red, and it's just the energies of the elemental forces that are different, which is in this case cups and wands. Now the axes for the 8 is actually 8 of Pentacles opposite the cups, and it's swords opposite the wands. So we're actually working from a perspective in this one, rather than this being the center. We've got the center being here on the midpoint. Now, so it's just amazing because 8 is our birth given vibrational name. And it's amazing that they're both red because the week 1 and here starts on the red chakra. Not week 1. Week 2 starts on the red chakra, and then you have 7 cards going through for, so for instance, Geranium Renewals, the very first red chakra to be starting. And then you've got in its 5-day week, you have the weekends off. And this is a year journey, a 52-week journey. So the fact that we wanted to start on green, the heart chakra, but we thought we would actually play by the rules and do it as this book says, because that's what we're attempting to do, to understand the rules, because then when we understand the rules from other people's perspectives, we'll understand the rules from society, and then we'll be able to adapt and change the rules of society for us in a way that others comprehend, so that we can deliver and share our unique ways and perspectives in a way that's comprehensible and received by the other. So the fact that they're both red was just amazing. The fact that they're both 8 was even more amazing. And now when we've looked in the Tarot of Dreams guidebook, and it says that you've got like Mars in Gemini and everything, we were, so let's say we were doing the King of Cups. On here we've got the King of Wands, but I think it was when we started this process, and when we start a process, as it goes on, it develops more and more of us kind of come out and connect, and all these epiphanies and connections and stuff starts happening. So it was on the King of Cups that we looked it up in the Tarot of Dreams book, and then we got the Patch Wisdom Wheel out, and we've never been able to interpret or read this Patch Wisdom Wheel in words. It's always been a physical action that we've done on the board, because that's how our little ones learn, that's how we learn. So when we read it in the Tarot of Dreams, that the King of Cups is the King of Cups, there you got 3 strips going down, it's 2/3 Pisces. I don't know if we can get a thing to make it clearer for you. So here on the King of Cups, see, the King of Cups doesn't follow with these 3 segments of Pisces. Pisces is there, it's up there, so it's actually 2 segments of Pisces, which is actually like a decan. If you look in the chart, it's 10 degrees, and it's 1 segment of Aquarius. So the kings will be 2/3 of their own elements. The King of Cups is the element water, so that will be 2/3 of water and 1/3 of the previous. But the previous isn't like the center, because the previous of water in the center is fire. It goes the opposite direction. So because it goes the opposite direction, the previous of water is air. So it's 2/3 water, 1/3 air. Now all the cups are like, all the kings are like that. The kings are 2/3 of their own elemental force. So let's say the King of Cups, let's say the King of Wands would be, that's fire, so that would be 2/3 fire, 1/3 water. The kings, we've also just learned, are mutable. The queens are cardinal energies, and the knights or the princes are fixed energies. So your fixed axes is your Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo. Your cardinal axes is your global axes, which is Capricorn, Cancer, and Aries, Libra. And it's the Aries new moon that we're happening at the moment, but we've got a double Aries new moon. The Aries new moon at the end of the month, or next month, but the end of this lunar month, is actually, it's on the 20th of April, and it's a solar eclipse. So we've got a double powerful new year. It's the astrological new year. We're still in Pisces energies at the moment. The moon is currently in Pisces, and it's the 8 of Cups that this has come on, and this is where the 8 of Cups is. So we're in Pisces energies, and this is what we're talking about. For us, our Pisces is in house 7, and it's Mercury. So our Mercury is, people tend to think of words and logic and stuff, but for us that doesn't work. Our Mercury is our mind, and for us, our mind is each individual consciousness mind of each cell, each bacteria, and the collective of them that makes up the body. So it's kind of complex, but it's the way that we express and communicate, and the most of us express and communicate through energy, but we haven't been able to connect this energetic understanding and awareness that we have, that is vast, with our words, because of our processing language disorder and our differing physical and mental abilities. So we were drawing the spiral, trying to kind of understand the numbers. So the numbers here on there, you've got 1 to 9. 10 goes back to 1 again, and then 11 is 2. So 10 is second tier 1. 11 is second tier 2. 19 is third tier 1. So we've gone out to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've gone out 6, which is 5 tiers out. Now if you look at this, it almost looks like the circle when you've got your navigating on the sea, and you've got the radars kind of out, and you have it all segment, and you can see other ships and dots coming in. So we were attempting to kind of understand this, and then we turned the circle into the spiral. 45 was the first time we came across the mirror point where you got 45 and 54, and it suddenly gets reversed on the 9, which is on the 6th number out, the 5th tier out. 5 has been a really hugely important number at the moment for people. 5 is the number, the house home of Leo. The new moon for us here in, I think it's in the whole of the UK, is or England is at 17:23. 17 is 5 p.m., 23 adds up to 5. For us, the void of course today, where it shifts from Pisces into Aries, the void of course is, so we're kind of like talking, you don't have a void of course moon at the moment, but we're in the void until 15:57, and then at 16:02 we go into Aries. So that's the, where are we going? There's the Aries and the Pisces and Aries energies. But it's not actually the Aries new moon until 17:23. So it's later again. But these are our cards. So we actually pulled this card, turned this card. We've got 5 of these cards left now. Yes, this was the 7th, that was the 6th, and then we've got 5 left. It's really cool. The last one's got a hummingbird on it. And our very first one, there's domestic harmony, which is nurture. That was the previous one to this. The very first one we turned was actually the start at 18. So this we turned yesterday, which actually was number 45. So you can see where these number alignments are coming in, and it's about collaboration. And she talks about collaboration in this book. So this is where because with trauma separates the body and it separates the logic. So it's abstract logic. So you've got like collaboration there. And I think you've got wisdom there. Wisdom came up because this is the season of wisdom on our Goddess Power Oracle that came out. And look, that's a 36, which is the Tesla code, which brings in that we did years ago. But it gets better. And then today it was 60, patient. We live at 66, so which is unconditional love. So there's just, we're not even able to go there all. But it's just been getting more nuts and more nuts. And so and it's also just wands energy. I mean, here you've got the 10 of wands and the hangman, which is what jumped out for us for the intuition. So we're in the red energies. So we're in the red energies dancing with, I think that's yellow, dancing with the 3rd chakra, the solar plexus, which is all about the breath and the controlled house of the body, as they say in Pilates, and indigo, the 3rd eye. So we're dancing with solar plexus and 3rd eye, the 3rd chakra and the 6th chakra, but with the foundation of red. So we were, for instance, going to okay, because we find it really hard to get stuff out of our head. So we've just got absolutely so excited because we've started managing to get things out of our head. So how do we visually show all of this? So we were going to say, like, if you've got all of that coloured in red, in that red, what came out was a yellow and a blue, a yellow and an indigo. So you could do it like this as a visual representation. So here you've got the blue and the yellow going over. In the middle, that's the yellow, that's the blue, and all of it is within the red. So those are the alchemizations of the energetics, because we're really visual. This is how we function. But if we were dancing with a foundation, not of the root chakra, from a foundation and a center point, a balancing point, because in a square, the center point is in the center. And so in linear logic, you think that the center's in the center, but the unseen energetic world it's a Fibonacci sequence, and it's a spiral, but the center is actually, if you're going in an anti-clockwise direction, the centre's the top left. If you're going in a clockwise direction, the centre's the bottom right. But you wouldn't tend to really describe the top left and the bottom right as the centre. So it's really understandable why we're finding it tricky to be impeccable with our word if all of this is different. But if the spectrum of energies we were dancing in was like indigo, then this big main circle would be indigo, and then you'd have the different colours in between. So that's what we were eventually going to get to. But what really got excited to go onto this was we were like, oh, we don't know what the 8 of Cups is. We have started learning this, but we haven't been able to remember it. And we can't just remember stuff in the conventional way of learning to remember it. And we learnt that at university because they wanted us to remember a massive formula, but we've never been able to remember in the conventional way that we understand the conventional way to be of remembering stuff. We've had to actually be able to physically work it out and understand it and where it comes from to be able to remember it. Otherwise there's no kind of physical attachment, there's no tangible relative reason to remember it. It's got to kind of be real, and we've danced in that kind of reality I suppose, to keep ourselves grounded and anchored, because the most dominant parts of us that have been the youngest have been in this unseen energetic one, which isn't like real. At university, we did maths and further maths, but further maths started getting theoretical and we couldn't do the theory side of things. But that's to do with our traumas. And so, therefore, we needed like a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We needed stuff to have set answers. We needed stuff to hold on to, because otherwise we would have fallen off the cliff. And that's to do with all our suicide. We attempted suicide when we were 18. So it all gets really kind of complex. And hence why it's the King of Cups, which we started this on when we were doing this journey recently. And then it's this Eight of Cups here, the eighth again with our birth given name vibration. And woe and behold, look, the Eight of Cups is Saturn in Pisces. And Saturn has literally just transited into Pisces at 0 degrees. And of course, our Pisces is our mind, house 7, which house 7 is about relating and partnerships. And to the average person in astrology, that means relating with others. But to us, our perspective is the relationship between one thing and another. Doesn't matter what that thing is, but for us, we're dancing with our journey of involution in the body. So at the moment, it's the bacteria to get our gut health bacteria happy and bouncy and bubbly and healthy, because that will make our physical cellular structure body happy and healthy, which would then have a knock-on effect for the rest of it. So then we can actually kind of come out again. And that's the Fibonacci realms. And so we just got super excited. I mean, we say it now and we actually are still kind of excited about it. Normally when we get to the pinnacle of what we're about to say, it's like, oh, there's no climax. It doesn't seem exciting anymore. And we know because we're dancing in the subtle energetic body, what seems massive for us doesn't seem like anything to someone else. But for us, when it's taken you decades to get somewhere, and it's the energetic, we have a cavity more, we haven't really got the words for it. But yes, the King of Cups is mutable energies, 2/3 Pisces, 1/3 air, and the spectrum we're dancing is specifically the Eight of Cups, which is Saturn in Pisces, which means finally all this chaos and everything maybe from us being perceived by the objective external person being in a state of chaos is going to kind of calm down, and there's going to be this connection and this integration between the external and the internal. And it's just exciting to what's going to be coming from us more, because I mean, this is just the beginning. I think this is the beginning of the stages of full connection and clarity. We're not there yet, but when you're talking over a mass line of like 3 decades, we're getting like really close. And 3 decades is actually the cycle, isn't it? It's around 30 years for the Saturn cycle, and Saturn is the 3D. So yeah, everything, this is like, this is how we do our journey into self-empowerment with the many of us in this one body. We hope that some of that kind of made a bit of sense. We are sharing us, but we're not sharing us from a, let's see, we're not sharing us from an egotistical point of view. The little ones want to share lots. We spend so much effort and time not sharing, but we're sharing our journey, and we're sharing the authenticity and the integrity in hope that it will inspire others, because we don't want to, the focus is going funny, isn't it? We don't want to dictate to others how to do things, because from our perspective, it's no one's place to dictate to anyone else how to do something, because everyone has the answers within. But in us sharing our story and our journey, we hope there'll be snippets that other people can take from it that will resonate with them, and so that they can have the courage to face this inner journeying, because for us, that's what will make the heaven on earth, peace on earth, pro-peace over anti-war, even though anti-war is considered positive. For us, it's not, because it's using negative connotation wording and being autistic. Our body reacts to that. So it's about, for us to include everyone and not see people as being victims and vulnerable, and get out of that duality, reality, truth, lie, and all that stuff, and being able to embrace and understand the interconnectedness of everything, and to include everyone. And it doesn't matter if people have differing physical and mental abilities, which from current society one sees as a victim and as vulnerable, and vulnerable being weak and the rest of it, to show that there's a whole other way of experiencing and viewing the world, which we're still navigating. Our little ones still hold blame and other things, but we know there's another way. And so, yeah, this is our process of doing it. And so with YouTube and how to grow your channel and do these things, you're meant to have a set niche, a set channel. You're meant to have not make it about you, and you meant all these things. But we are, like, for instance, Buddhism is about non-attachment. And in here it said about having a neutral perspective over something doesn't mean one isn't detached, doesn't mean one is detached. And so therefore it took us on this journey of, well, if you've got detached and you've got attached, you've got, like, it takes us to the body where you've got the origin of the muscle, you've got the insertion of the muscle. It takes us to tension of a rope where you've got an anchor point one end and you're pulling it to make it tight on the other. But what we see in the 3D logical linear external reality, the collective objective agreement we call it, it's very abstract and mirrored on 3 planes. So it's not just upside down, like on the Tesla code where we've done both, and you've got the top triangle or the bottom triangle. So if you've got this, you've got the 3 different planes. So you've got it mirrored back to front, you've got it mirrored upside down, and then we still can't do it quite with all of that. Oh look, we've put something up. Anyway, we better go. We just wanted to share that because the fact that we talked about Saturn and Pisces 0 degrees yesterday, and the energies that came up with Russell, with these cards that come out, that's what the synchronization, the number symbology is all to do with. The language of the subconscious, which is our past. It's all the data and information. It's all of our life experience that's happened, that's stored in our connective tissue. And depending, if you open up your armpits lengthways, that releases depression. Your groins release emotions. All fear, like trauma and anxiety, goes into your psoas muscle, which is your hip flexors, your first muscles to wake up. So that's your past. Your future is the non-physical, your imagination, the yet to be manifest into physical creation. That's your superconscious, and the language of your superconscious, your subconscious, and the multiverse or God or the unseen energies is it's vibration. It's vibration. But humans experience vibration and perceive it depends on which sensory system it comes at in. So if we're perceiving, which the majority of people do, vibration through our visual sense, we'll see colors, we'll see patterns, we'll see contrast, we'll see light and shadow. If we're experiencing it through our auditory sense, we'll hear music, we'll hear different tones. If we're feeling it through our tactile sense, our body, we'll feel the vibration, we'll feel a tingling or a buzzing or different sensations in the physical body. So the language of it all is vibration. Because we're human, we sense that vibration depending on the sensory system, number, color, pattern, symbology. But it's really the sensations that we feel in the body is really challenging. And you then have your external 5 physical senses, but you have the internal 6th multi-energetic sense. And it's this one, which is the subjective and the objective. The journey of involution is evolution inwards. Evolution is something that happens outside of us. It involves time. It involves the collective agreement of the Saturn energies, limitations, boundaries, 3D dimension. And the subjective is very different. And when trauma happens, things get very chaotic, they get very distorted. But because we're a very logical person and we've never been experienced in this spiritual, unseen, energetic realm from a communicative way, which is the intuitive realm, if you're born intuitive and you have someone to talk about it, then you've got people that can just flow with their body. They're all connected, they can do the rest of it. But if you're someone that's experienced trauma, and it could be generational lineage trauma or land trauma, then it starts fragmenting and separating the body. And this is like the majority of people, because we live in a world and society that is mostly masculine, and masculine thinks in the part, it segments, it categorizes, but that we need to have a whole structure to incorporate all that. Otherwise, which most people, I suppose, in the body does, but for us with EDS, our boundaries in our body aren't clear, and then that can reflect on other things as well. But there's no one starting point. There's lots of starting points. Anyway, there's been so much stuff coming out that we hope this has kind of made a bit of sense. It's hopefully making more sense than what some of it has in the past. And we just kind of got excited and wanted to share. And when you live on your own and don't you leave your house, this is one of the ways that we're doing it. And this is really hard to hold. So we're going to stop now. We're going to go. We've shared, and we're going to keep going on our journey. And we've got this. The idea of doing 52 weeks or something every day, Monday to Friday, in a logical sense, is really daunting for a lot of us because we're mostly in our little uns. I suppose we did top up yeah, we're not very good at ending or leaving. Anyway, this is going to be great for us to watch back because it feeds that constructive feedback loop of information in and out of the senses, out and in of the senses. So yeah, enjoy your journeying to wholeness and balance and authenticity and integrity, and all those good words and all those amazing harmonic, beautiful symphony of orchestra sounding words, and we'll continue on ours because the collective energies at the moment for this journeying is absolutely incredible. And the more we do it inwards is the more empowering one. The more we start understanding ourselves, the more empowering it is for us. We can only be nurturing and compassionate and create peace and calm and balance out there if we create it inside here first. And when one has suffered a lot of trauma, CPTSD, PTSD, they've got physical limitations, the rest of it, it makes it really challenging. But there's a way, and one can way, and you're the only one that knows your way, but there are some fundamental things that can kind of help. So that's why we're sharing like we do. You go to Tubbo. Okay, so we're gonna go now. Say bye. So that be a bit long, didn't it? But that's always us. And we turn it off up here.